Hi, I'm Nate with Average Jack Archery and AverageJackArchery.com, where orders $100 up get free shipping across the lower 48, and that includes our stock of Ultra arrows. And today we're going to take the topic of Ultra in a 2-year long form, honest to goodness review. So in the now 11 years that I've been filming YouTube content, wow, does that make me sound old. I've shot a bunch of different arrow companies on the channel, reviewed a bunch of different style of products from Victory and Sirius and Gold Tip, Easton as well back in the really old days, and now I've come around and started using Ultra arrows. Now Ultra, if you're unfamiliar, is part of the Outdoor Group, which is the same as Elite Archery and Slick Trick Broadheads, Scott Releases, CBE sights, stabilizers, and rests. And so this is part of the family of brands, right? This would be very similar to something like your Dart and Conquest, which has Black Eagle as well, right? So it's kind of all under one roof. The interesting thing about the arrows that have been hitting the market as of late is most of the companies that have been coming out with arrows are direct to consumer only. So you buy them online, they're not really in pro shops, and it's just kind of a one-to-one. You can't really like go into a store and buy them. Whereas Ultra, being new to the market, is actually in the retail store. So I carry them in my shop. A lot of your bow shops across the country are probably going to start carrying them. When Ultra first came out, I was like, great, just another arrow. Cool, it's part of the TOG brand. I really like Elite bows. I do shoot Elite bows. And I've shot CBE sights and a whole bunch of stuff. So I was like, it's got to be a quality product. And so I started out by shooting the Centrum Premier in their pre-fletched, and which is what I have right here. This arrow I've now been hunting with for 2 years. And it's your pretty run-of-the-mill standard diameter arrow. I don't get off into the weeds. Ultra offers a 166, which is your 4 mil, your 204, which is your 5 mil. They offer a standard diameter, and then they offer a bunch of target arrows as well. We'll get into that in a second. But I'm a big believer in standard diameter carbon arrows. They're just the easiest to work with, in my opinion. There's no half outs, there's no collars, there's no nonsense. Most of them take a 9/32, or Ultra takes a 5/16 point. Stuff you can walk into any of your big box stores, your local bow shop, and be able to find componentry for, including lighted nocks, extra nocks, your field points, like I said, your broadheads you're going to screw in normally. I'm a big standard diameter arrow fan. I shoot a 300 spine, about a 31-inch draw length at 70 pounds, even down in the 60-pound range. I'd still be shooting a 300 spine. This arrow is 9.7 GPI, so it's a little bit heavier than, let's say, like your Victory V-Force and your Gold Tip XT Hunter, which I've shot in the past on the channel. But it still is going to be right in that wheelhouse of about a 470 grain arrow by the time I cut it down, and I like 125 grain Magnus broadheads. That's my normal go-to. Factory fletched arrows. That's one thing I've never really shot before. I've always kind of shot, for at least the past decade, my own fletched arrows. Broke out the Bitzenberger, fletched them in any way I like. But these have the standard industry, you know, about a 2-degree offset, and they did everything just fine. Mechanicals, fixed blades. I think I shot 3 or 4 deer with them on camera on the channel, including my biggest buck to date. I've also been very impressed with the durability of the standard diameter. Now, I've had a bunch of people buy the 204s and 166 in the shop. Granted, Ultra's only been out for about 2 years, so I haven't heard a ton of feedback yet, but all the feedback I've heard back so far has been very, very positive. Now, Ultra does not do the lightweight 4 mil and 5 mil arrows, which I actually really like. That was the gold standard for years and years and years, which was the Easton Axis and then the Easton FMJ. A 5 millimeter, they had the hit insert, it wasn't a half out. 5 millimeter, it was very heavy. 300 spine was 10.7 GPI, and that's what Ultra is doing as well. So you're not worried about FOC. You get all of the weight of the arrow in the tube, which I actually kind of personally like. I know that goes against everybody else on the internet's thoughts on that, but you're able to get a high 4s to high 5s, 500 grain arrow without having to do anything crazy, putting a 200 grain broadhead up front. Again, walking into your local bow shop. That's the big deal for me as a retail owner, as a pro shop owner, being able to sell a product that is high quality, that's ready to go, without having to do a whole bunch of extra direct-to-consumer bells and whistles. I really like that about Ultra. I also like that the price point is very comparable. So Ultra does the Novum series, which is a 6,000s. They're going to run you around the $65 for a half dozen. That's pretty run-of-the-mill for a 5-6,000 grain arrow, maybe a touch more, but I have really enjoyed the tolerances, even down into the 6,000 1000 straighteness arrows in the Novum series. They're just plus or minus half to 1 grain. That's huge. Most other companies are plus or minus 2 grains or even more than advertised. And then of course you get into their limited, which is a 3000s, and their premier, which is a 1000s. Now I shoot the high end one because I have a really long draw length. And so I don't get to cut off the wobbly ends like a lot of people who might have like a 27, 28, even a 29 inch draw length. I have pretty much a full length arrow. This arrow right here is 31 inches carbon to carbon. So I only get to cut off 1 inch of carbon. So I like starting out, I'll pay a little bit extra to have a little bit of a straighter arrow right out of the box when I just go to cut off the front end. So the tolerance has been great. The durability has been great. I have yet to break one. I've yet to break one on an animal. This arrow right here went through, I think, 3 different animals. The only thing that I did have happen on the one arrow, which was my buck in Ohio last year, it ripped one of the fletchings off when it was going through the animal, and actually found the fletch on the inside of the chest cavity when I cleaned him out. Outside of that, stripped the rest of the fletchings, refletched the arrow, and I'm back to square one. What I really like about Ultra, as if you know me, in particular if you're local to the shop, I really enjoy target archery. Target archery is really what I do, shooting 23 diameter, 25, or in this case a 27 diameter arrow. There's very few arrow companies for a long time that weren't doing spine selectable target shafts. So all your gold tip arrows, which there's nothing wrong with gold tip, they're tremendous arrows, shot them for years. All of your gold tip arrows are 1 spine, that's it. Black Eagle and Victory, and really was just Black Eagle, was your main dominator of the market, offered spine. So if you were a lady, you were a kid, you were a short draw archer, or you're a full grown man but you shot lighter poundage, you couldn't get a spine to match the arrow that you were trying to shoot based on the poundage and specs of your bow. Ultra came out with the ability to have spine. So this is a 27 diameter arrow here. I shoot this for both indoors and out. I've been shooting it for the ASA and IBO circuit this year with great success. I cannot blame the arrow whatsoever for my crap shooting on certain days. This is a 200 spine, but they have a 200 and a 300. So if you shoot like 60 pounds, 29 inch draw length, you can get a 300 spine, 27 diameter arrow and get the speed that you need for ASA and IBO competition. That's a pretty big deal. Same thing's true of your 23 and 25 series. They offer 2 or 3 different spine selections as well. As a shop owner and as a shooter myself, perhaps my favorite thing about Ultra, maybe it's just because I really like shooting black bows. I'm like a Henry Ford, right? You can have any color you want as long as it's black. I prefer to shoot a black bow and put fancy colored strings on it to give the color pop there instead of being the riser. Ultra is all black and silver. Every single one of their cresting is a black and silver cresting. So it gives it a really sharp, clean look, and it matches any color schema. Every other company uses a different color scheme, reds, greens, golds, blues, whatever, to dictate the different quality of the arrows. So if it's a 6000s, 3000s, or 1000s. And I have a ton of archers that come into my store and they want to match the arrow cresting color to their colored bow, or to their strings, or to their colored sight, or whatever it may be. And so they'll actually buy a cheaper grade or a more expensive grade just so that cresting matches. Ultra, it's not plain, that's the wrong word. It's pretty basic, it's pretty simple, it's pretty crisp, I think it's pretty sharp, that it's all silver, white, and black. So the limiteds are in all black with a silver accent, the premiers are the kind of the white silver with a black accent, and I think it really matches every color combo. I know, that's a very petty thing. It's a first world problem, right? But I personally really like it. It does give a distinction between the two with the all silver and the all black. So as I'm selling products in the shop, I can show it explicitly to somebody. Hey, this is a 3000s, this is a 6000s, this is a 1000 straighteness arrow, whatever the case may be. I really like the black and silver look. Call me crazy. And no, Ultra does not pay me for this review. Actually, Ultra doesn't pay me for anything. I just really like their product. And as a shop owner who stocks this product in my store, I really think Ultra has the ability to get a foothold in the market. And if you're looking at getting a different arrow type and you want to check out a different company, you want to check out what Ultra is all about, head down to your local pro shop and see if they stock them. You can always check them out on the Outdoor Group's website at ultraarrows.com. You can always, of course, shop all the Ultra products there, all the bushings and nocks and componentry and everything else that's there. Read about the arrows and see if it's the right fit for you. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions about Ultra arrows, arrows in general, or anything else that pertains to the sport of archery and bow hunting, do drop a comment down in the comment section below. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Average Jack Archery. You can always shop our website, averagejackarchery.com. And if you're in the central Pennsylvania area and you need a home shop, you can check us out at 21 North Front Street in Phillipsburg, PA. Be happy to service all your archery, crossbow, and bow hunting needs. Hope you're able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery, archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful creation, and we'll get to see you next time.